Hey y'all, how you doing today? All right. Um, I haven't touched this thing in quite a while, my 360, um, mainly because there's just been so many other things to do. But I thought, today being rainy and wet and nasty, today would be a good day to take the bag off, take the towels off, check everything, and make sure we're still in decent shape here. So let me see what we've got. Do I have a bunch of rust or do I have things still being nice and clean? Well, the crank looks good. The crank looks very good. Got a towel here that didn't want to cooperate. So, okay. All right. I'm very, so far, everything's looking rather nice. Mm-hmm. Yes, everything is looking really, really nicely here. Mm-hmm. All right. So, tell you what, I'll let you all see the crank real quick. Here, get a little closer look at what I'm talking about. See everything there. So, alright. Now this is all looking really nice. So, okay. Alright. Got a little rust right here, a little surface rust, but it's not bad. I'm going to turn on the crank, so. But that's the flange, so that's not all that bad. I can clean that up pretty easily. So let's look at the cylinders. I'm going to turn this thing over, look at the cylinders, and see how they're doing. So probably this is upside down for you right now, but that's 360. So all right, let me set you all down. I'll turn this thing over, and we can get a better look at the cylinders and see what they're like. Okay, everything is looking pretty good so far. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes, everything is looking nice. Mm-hmm. Oh yes. A little piece of lint. Yes, everything's looking really good here. So I'm very pleasantly surprised. I'm glad that I soaked everything down with a lot of deep creep and PB Blaster and everything under the sun. So yeah, everything's looking good. I was concerned about that, but okay. Um, let's see. I think I'm going to check ring fitment and see how that is working. I checked the ring gap before, but I'm not entirely certain if I did it with the new rings or I did it with the old rings. So I'm going to do it now with the new rings, and I'm going to take you all along with me that you all see what's happening. Okay? So let me pause this and I will get everything I need together. I'll be right back. Okay, y'all, I'm back. Um, got everything here that I need. I'm going to just do one cylinder to let you all see what's happening, how to do it, all of that kind of thing, and so that you can get a better understanding, okay, of how to do this. Now, you're going to notice some things about your piston rings. Now, these are Seal Power. I've used Hastings, you name it. They all work really good. The big thing is preparation, okay? Now, these are not a foul fit ring. These are like a factory style type ring. I did not get cast iron. I got a moly ring, okay? These are what you usually find in your higher mileage, more modern engines, okay? What you want to do is you notice I got my gloves on, clean hands. You don't want oil, you don't want the oil from your face or your skin touching these, okay? So let's get the camera turned around here, if I can. There we go. Okay. Now what we want to do, I'm going to try to do this. Technical difficulties there in filming. Okay, so do this cylinder here. What we're going to do is, no, just do it like that. There we go. And my glove is caught. So, gonna be one of those days, ain't it? Let's see. There we go. All right. That's the problem with doing this and working with gloves and get them caught. Now, I'm going to work this ring down into the cylinder. Okay. I'll try to get you all set up here so you can see a lot better about what I'm doing. Okay. I've got the ring in this cylinder here. I want to get the ring down in the cylinder, and I want to get it down in there the equal amount. Now, some folks will use a piston, one of the pistons, and just push it down in there the equal amount. That's not a bad way to do it. Matter of fact, that's a very accurate way to do it. But I think I'm going to do it a little bit differently. Okay. Like I said, I want to get down in there an equal amount. I think I have checked these before, but I thought this would be a good lesson here for you all. A good thing to see how to do this. And also it gets you a better understanding of ring seal and that sort of thing. Now, some folks say that you got to put a light under there and see up through it. That may be very much the case. Now, you'll notice I'm down in the cylinder here. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm probably overdoing this to some people's, according to some folks, but what I want to do is I just want to go down, in there a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to lock this sucker down. Let's see. Yep. Okay, I'm past that already. What I'm doing here is I'm getting the piston ring square with the deck up here. Okay. Now there are many, many different ways to do this. Okay. But that's how I like to do it. You may do it a different way. Up here is my ring gap that you see right there. See the ring gap? There's our ring gap. So 10 to 20 is that's where they say. So I've got a 10 thousandths feeler gauge here. We're going to put 10 thousandths. Okay, 10 thousandths very, very loose. So we're going to move up. Move up. Here's 11, 12. How about we go, here's a 15. Let's try a 15. Maybe a 15 will do it. There's some drag on the 15. I'm thinking maybe 16 might be the magic number there. This is cylinder, oh yeah, 16 is definitely, yeah, there's a lot of drag there on 16. So let me see if I can get you all over here so you can see what I'm doing. And see, take the feeler gauge, put it in there, and I'm looking for drag. Okay, I'm wanting to feel drag. Now it's important, yes, I'm using these angled feeler gauges, but it's really super important to get this in there nice and straight. So get it in there nice and straight. Okay, and I've got some drag on it. So there we go. Anyway, now one thing to also check, keep checking your gap right here when you're doing this. Okay, you got to keep checking that, because if you don't, you might push this or this with your feeler gauge and knock that gap off a little bit. Okay, so now you're allowed 10 to 20 thousandths. Now, of course, some people are like, oh, it's better if you have it tighter. Okay. But some people are like me, this engine build this is doing it at home. This is 16, that's going to be good. So, now, okay. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just gently pull the ring up out of the cylinder bore. Okay, we don't want to yank it out and possibly gouge the cylinder or wall or something like that. Now, you can file these edges here on the ring, these edges right here. That's not a bad thing to do. That's a pretty good thing to do. But that gets you the ring gap. Okay? Your second groove should be very similar. Okay? But keep in mind some things. Where I measured number 1 is where number 1 is usually going to be at the top. Where I measured when you're measuring number 2, you might want to move number 2 down a little bit. So, yes, I had this at 751. Oh, just as a word of caution, this is an inexpensive one. You don't have to go out here, unless you're using this thing like every single day, you don't have to go out here and buy a really high dollar one. Unless you just happen to run across a really good deal on one. And if you do, hey, let me in on it too, okay? So, you see what I'm talking about. But you can push the ring down in there further, the second ring, so you might want to go like 760 or 770 or something like that. You're just trying to get a gauge there, basically. You're trying to figure out what's the situation with the cylinder wall, where are we at, okay? Now, Another thing is, when you're doing this, is you can do this in like several different places in the cylinder too. Okay, so you can do this in different places in the cylinder, and that helps out tremendously. So I've still got my top ring, but I'm going to check it again, and I'm going to check it further down in the cylinder. Why? I want to see what I've got for a gap down there to see if my cylinder is possibly, we're still at 16, we're still good. I'm checking for bore taper, basically. All right. Now, yes, I didn't use my micrometer to square this up, but so I'll use that again this time to square it up. Let's see. Okay, I think we're good right there. All right, so got my 16 out. Check again. Yes. 16. Still nice. Still nice. So 16 is good. Now, of course, you can use, there are specialty tools, measuring tools. You can use a bore gauge, which is really, really nice. If you can afford those, hey, I'm all about it. You know, wear it out. You know what I'm saying? But, tell you what, let's go all the way down to the bottom of the stroke, if we can. I don't know if my micrometer will go that far. Well, here's 3.58. So that's the bottom of the stroke. I didn't lock it down. Silly me. But, you know, like I said in a previous video about, you know, you see me on here making mistakes. And whoops, my ring just flipped around there. Okay. So, let's check again. All right, now I'm down at the bottom of my stroke. This is still the number one ring, the top ring. So you can see down in there, there's my gap down there. So let's take my name. Okay, we're still good. Okay, so this cylinder has no bore taper. It's pretty much uniform top to bottom. Now, you'll notice I did not measure right here because my piston stops about right there. So, yes, this is going to be a low compression engine. But when we're talking, you know, get the camera wearing gloves. Okay, so low compression 360 versus higher compression 239. What do you think is going to make the difference? I know what's going to make a difference to me. The 360. So 239 is great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not bashing it. I love them. I love mine. It's been great. But I mean, let's face it. You know, when it comes to having that, not only the cool factor, but the that nice sound, that nice V8 sound. Yeah, you know, the anything you do to a V6, you're not going to get there. You're just not going to get there. So, you know, I'm not bashing. Again, I'm not bashing anybody. I'm just saying this is how things are. Okay. But you know, the V6 is great, but the V8, yeah, V8's even a little bit better in my opinion. But you know, now I know, yeah, fuel economy is probably not going to be as good. But eventually, I'm going to go to some type of fuel injection system on here on this engine, whether I use a modified Magnum intake or I use MSD Atomic or the Holly or whatever. I'm going to be using something like that along those lines to after a while. But that's going to be sometime down the road before the fuel injection goes on this. In the meantime, there may be a carburetor, you know. So maybe a Holly, maybe a Carter Thermoquad, something like that. So, but yeah, that's how you do your piston ring end gap, and that's how you handle your rings and take care of all that. But I will also tell you that it's, you know, so anyway, okay. I'm going to spray the sucker down and wrap it up and put it away. All right. Thank you for watching. If you got any questions about this video or any others, let me know down in the comment section down below. I will be very happy. Wearing gloves. I will be very happy to answer any questions you got. And I thank you very much for watching. And as usual, God bless and have a great one.